Hope this works. Alright, hi everyone. So I haven't made a video in a minute, partially because I moved. During the middle of the pandemic, I moved to a house. I bought a house. And I just stopped making videos. I've made a couple singing videos, but I haven't made anything about cooking. So I decided that tonight, I'm making something new. I haven't ever made it before. I'm gonna make it for you all. So, what I'm gonna make tonight is a vegan lentil tortilla soup. Am I vegan? No. Am I very heavily plant-based? Probably. I'm a giant hippie and I'm aware of it, so you're all welcome for all of that. So, I'm gonna be looking on my phone, trying to sort of go by this recipe. Here's the thing. Up to this point, I've made a lot of baking videos. Bread, biscuits, cake. For those of you that actually know me in real life, I don't bake. Aside from biscuits every now and then, I don't bake. I don't do anything with the oven. I'm not good with it. I don't know how to use it. So tonight I'm gonna make something that I just make on the stove. Cooking is a little more liberal, and that's more what I do. So we're gonna go with this. So this calls for a red onion. I didn't have a red onion in my pantry stuff, so I'm gonna use a white onion. And we're gonna go with that. For those of you that don't know how I cut a white onion, or any onion, watch the Food Network. Watch everything that your parents watched when you were kids on the Food Network. Rachel Ray, Emeril Lagasse, whoever. I watched a lot of Rachel Ray. She never cut an onion the way that a lot of people cut onions around me, and it drove me absolutely crazy. Because you want to be able to dice it, so you want to cut it vertically and horizontally at the same time. So you want to cut slits into it. I'm making essentially a baking show video with a string hanging down. You're all welcome. But I just cut this like this mainly because it makes it a lot easier. I don't have to try as much. You're gonna understand. I work in theater full time for a living. I teach it, I do it. We do multiple shows a year at the institution that I work at. So, I don't have time to not just work fast. So, we're gonna cut onions like this. Now it calls for a full red onion. Did I have a red onion? No, as I've already said. Do I follow recipes? That's the big thing here. No, I don't follow recipes. For this recipe, I followed the ingredient list for the most part. And I tried not to deviate, but I'm gonna deviate some, because I didn't have everything. And if you all haven't been to the grocery store during a pandemic, then you don't know how irritating it is to walk around the grocery store and see people that don't have masks on. Because they think that this isn't real. This is real, just FYI. So if you're one of those people that walks around the grocery store without a mask on, I'm sorry for your health, your family's health, but you don't know what you're doing, and you should be doing more. And no, I'm not sorry about that. I'm sure that any of my family watching this are going to be mad because I'm being very liberal on camera in front of everybody, but I just don't care. Fight with me. I have sharp knives. So, we're gonna cut up this onion and we are going to saute this on the stove with some olive oil. And then we're gonna add everything else, and I'll be back with everything else in a minute. Alright, so while that's sauteing, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in the black beans and the corn that it requires, mainly because both of these, it wants you to rinse them and drain them. So, we'll grab the strainer, and then we'll go ahead and start with the black beans because they have to be rinsed. And we'll go ahead and pop those on. And of course, because it's me, that can did not actually work as directed. So we're gonna grab my can opener, which is a swing away in case you, if any of you guys are people that cook a lot, buy a swing away. No matter what type of swing away it is the best thing you'll ever buy. This one actually locks on so that if you have arthritis in your family, like I have, and you have weird things with your hands sometimes, this doesn't acknowledge that. It clamps on for you. It does all the work for you. But we're gonna go ahead and drop this into a strainer and rinse it off. We're gonna take the corn and we're going to rinse that, or not rinse it, but we're gonna drain it as well. And it did not mess up. But we're also gonna add cumin and chili powder. So, for those of you that are living in Kentucky, you know that it is getting fall-ish out, and I want to make fall stuff. But I hated the idea of just making chili. Chili just felt like a cop-out almost, because we all make chili in the South, but vegan lentil soup, we don't all make that. So let's try to make that. It does have cumin, it does have chili powder, so it's gonna probably taste very similar to that, but it's also gonna have the corn and the black beans that some people in the South don't put in their chili. It also requires garlic, which I'm gonna be honest about. I cheat. I use the jar minced garlic. My mother is probably screaming from her computer or her Kindle Fire because I can't. I can't always do chopped garlic or pressed garlic, and I like a lot of it. So sometimes if you buy it like this, then you're a little bit better off. Here's some cool stuff. I'm just gonna add, according to our recipe, we're going to add 5 cloves of garlic. That means about 2.5 teaspoons? 2.5 teaspoons of this stuff. Here's the thing. I don't even know where my teaspoon is. I don't measure anything that small. That's a 1/2 tablespoon. What is a teaspoon? What does it even look like? Is that this? Okay. We'll see what we get. Okay, so according to the Jeremy Southern doesn't want to do measurements, there's about 3 teaspoons of of garlic, and that's all we're gonna get. So we're also gonna add about 2 teaspoons of chili powder and a tablespoon of cumin. I will try to measure that with the tablespoon measure, but I cannot promise I'm gonna get it close. Now, according to our recipe, all we want to do is make those fragrant and make them to where they are smelling very bright. Usually that's referred to as like blooming them, the spices. I don't really care what it's referred to as. It's gonna be whatever it is. And then I'm gonna add in these 2 things as well as a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes. Now I think it calls for fire roasted tomatoes. Here's the thing, I ain't gonna do that. Did I have fire roasted tomatoes in the cabinet? No. Did I have diced tomatoes? Yes, and that's what we're gonna use. So we're gonna add that to that same bowl of ingredients with the corn and the beans. Now here's the fun thing. We're also gonna add about 3/4 cup of lentils to that same ingredient bowl, I guess. So what I'm assuming is going to happen is we have onions, we have oil, we have garlic, we have spices, and I think that what's happening is because this is going in And it's also going in with V8 tomato juice or vegetable juice and coconut milk that we are going to deglaze that pan. Now here's the fun thing about this. I always use either stainless steel or cast iron with enamel coating pans. And that's a really important thing to me. I think it's more sustainable. I'm not a huge fan of nonstick in general. Many of you could probably guess why. I don't have to say it. But we're gonna add all of this in and let it cook down for a little while. So fun story, it only calls for 32 ounces of the tomato, vegetable, whatever juice. You can't buy it in 32 ounces, you can buy it in 46 ounces, so I'm gonna guess. Because that's who I am as a person. Who I am as a person said that's almost all of it. And then we're also gonna add this whole can of coconut milk because this is a vegan recipe, so it is not going to include heavy cream or anything that normal like Thai or Indian recipes would include. And then the real thing is we just let that cook for a while until like the lentils and everything are cooked through, and then we'll taste test it and see how good it is. I'll show you guys what I'm putting in at the end as a garnish, and then we'll find out what works. Alright, so to round out this video, it looks like that we are going to do the garnishing and then the actual tortilla soup. So one of the garnishes is jalapenos, like fully raw, just cut up jalapenos. Now here's the thing I'm going to tell you. I'm a wuss. I can't handle fully raw all the time jalapenos. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to take them and I'm going to use my knife, because if you know me in real life, you know that my knives are super sharp because I can't stand a dull knife. I'm going to take the pith and the seed out of those jalapenos, because otherwise we're going to get a lot of heat and we're going to get a lot of generally what white people are gonna see as negative heat, things that we can't deal with. I'm gonna grab another knife because for the most part I think that a big knife is good for everything, but when we come to cutting out the seeds and the pith of a jalapeno, I'm gonna get a paring knife because I really don't want that pith in there. When I go to eat this soup, I want like just the rind, and you know, that's okay. That's okay. The seeds really aren't hot. I need to tell you guys, the seeds of a jalapeno are not really hot. I don't know what you've read on Pinterest, which is honestly where I got this recipe, but the seeds aren't hot. It's the pith. The pith is really hot. So if I'm cutting out the pith, it's because I don't want the heat, because I don't want to feel that at midnight after I've eaten all of this. So I'm going to throw these in a bowl. They are just for garnish. They're not for the actual soup. Now, here I'm going to put cilantro together because that's going to go in for me, because I like cilantro. The amount of people I have that yell at me because they're like, oh, I don't like cilantro. That's annoying. Don't do that. It's just cilantro. It doesn't matter. If you don't like it, don't put it in. If you like it, put it in. It's up to you. It's your life. I'm going to put it in the same bowl that my jalapenos in because I just genuinely don't care. Now the last thing that I'm going to put in for garnish is sour cream. Now, this makes it non-vegan. If you're vegan or if you're vegetarian or whatever, you might not want to use sour cream. That's fine. It doesn't necessarily need it. I use it because it cuts some of the heat of the jalapeno and then the chili powder and all of that that's in, all of the spice that's in the actual dish itself. Alright, so if you can see it, here is the lentil soup we've cooked over on the stove. We are going to throw onto the lentil soup some, oh wow, it's really spicy, some of the jalapeno and cilantro. I love cilantro, so if you guys see me throwing a ton of it on here, it's because of that. And I also really like jalapeno, so I might, it's a dangerous thing to be with me with this because I want to throw it all on. So, we've got this gorgeous bowl of stuff, and we're going to throw on some sour cream just to fight some of the heat. Because, in case you all haven't noticed, I am very white. So, we're just going to mix this up and throw on a tiny bit of it. Actually, I'm not going to throw that much on. Maybe that much. A tiny bit of sour cream along with everything else. And then ta-da, we have this vegan, mostly vegan tortilla soup. I don't know if you guys can see it. Ah! This is the first thing I've made on here that wasn't like very much from a recipe. This is a recipe that I did not follow very well. So, this is one of those you're all welcome moments. And thanks for watching.